Hello, BookTube. We're continuing on with my library tour for 2022. We're going shelf by shelf, and we're starting here in the little book room, my little sanctum sanctorum, which is not little enough for my taste, but it'll do. It was the smallest available room that worked. There is one room here that's perfect, the perfect size, but it's adjoining another room. You have to walk through that other room, and it's a bedroom, so it's inconvenient. I could imagine a way in which it would be perfect, because once upon a time, the tiny little room that I'm thinking of had its own door to the stairways and the hallways and the common areas. That door is painted and taped shut. It would be the work of 15 minutes to get it open and working again. And then you could close and paint and tape shut the communicating door that it has now, and Bob's your uncle. But that didn't happen. That was too much work. So we're in my little book room, which is not the smallest little book room that I've had. And we're going to do, once again, one shelf, and we're going to do the crosswise books first. There's only one. It's this thing. It's a history from 1925 of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, it's by Boston historian, and it had no cover at all. The cover was just white. It was just a white piece of paper. So I put an ornate cover on there so that I wouldn't have to look at a white cover. Well, I knew that I was going to reinforce this. I knew that I was going to keep it. This is a history of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum at Fenway Court here in Boston, which is an amazing place. If you come to Boston, you really, really should make a point of going to see it, because it's incredible. And I have a number of books on the Gardner. We've seen a few of them already, and they're not all together. The next one is this great omnibus edition. I think I saw this first. I mean, I saw it in bookstores, but I think I was reminded of its existence first on Mark Richardson's channel. I think that's the case. I saw it on a BookTube channel anyway. This is a combination of The Greek Way and The Roman Way by Edith Hamilton, which I found in horrible condition and reinforced because I love this. I love especially her appreciations of the Greek writers. I think they're just wonderful. Although just in general, she was a very empathetic, acutely observational classicist. So I mean, she's most famous for her book Mythology, but I love these two books, and the only other editions of them that I've ever had have been really crappy mass market paperbacks that fell apart with the amount of use that I give them. I've transferred all of the annotations from those mass markets into this volume so that it will last me for the rest of the time that I need it. Then we have a slipcase edition. Who does this? Whose publication is this? This is the Heritage Press. This is the Heritage Press slipcase of Barchester Towers by Anthony Trollope. And I don't usually get slipcase books. I love them, but they're usually too delicate for my taste. But this thing came with the book plastic jacketed against any further abuse. So that's pretty good, and it's illustrated, and I love Barchester Towers, as does everyone I know who's ever read it. So I got a fancy edition, even though the fancy editions aren't really for me, and I have a Penguin trade paperback of Barchester Towers. I got it anyway. Then this next one is from last year. I think I got this in 2021. From Prometheus Books. Yes, I got this in 2021. This is by John Campbell, but not that John Campbell, and this is Cross-Examined, which is a big book that looks at Christianity, at not only its place in the world and all of the roles that it's played in history, but also its truth claims, and goes through them methodically, one by one. There's not much that I could detect in the book of personal animosity, and that made it tremendously refreshing to read. Just amazingly good. I think I wrote a review of it. If I remember, I'm forgetting lately to leave any kind of written links down below, and I really shouldn't do that. Then the next one is also a find at the Brattle. This, or no, maybe this was sent from one of you. This is another fancy edition. This is a big edition of the Canterbury Tales, full of illustrations by Rockwell Kent. This is a wonderful Canterbury Tales to have. Just full of these minimalist, stylized illustrations. This was Englished by J.U. Nicholson, and is delightful. I have many, many editions of the Canterbury Tales, and you never know what mood you're going to be in. You never know what you're going to want. It's granted, true that the last few times that I was in the mood for the Canterbury Tales, I was in the mood for the Canterbury Tales, not someone's modern English version of the Canterbury Tales. I would just go straight to Chaucer. I have a penguin that has Chaucer just sitting there, plump and unadorned. And oftentimes I found that I'm in the mood for that, but not always. Then this next one was a revelation. This is not just a boxed edition. This is a Folio Society edition of Dracula, which is one of my favorite books. And I originally quailed at this idea because I don't get fancy editions like this because I'm hard on my books. And a number of you told me you all were on the same page about this, which is that folio books are ironclad. They are workhorses, so that you're not going to destroy it. And once that worry was taken away, I found myself loving this. I had to resist the urge to reread the whole book, just sitting there when I have no need to do that. And also, much like Canterbury Tales, there are many editions of this book in this little room. And that is not a case of me needing to look at the space allocations here at all. I want all of those editions. Then this next one is also from last year. I think this was the first book that I got last year. Is this also 2021? Yes, I got this. I got this single-digit days of January in 2021. Turned out to be one of my favorite books of the whole year. A big Yale University Press edition of the selected works of Samuel Johnson. Huge thing. With amazing amounts of annotation. I know these works, but so when I go to a book like this, I'm concentrating mainly on the secondary stuff, the critical apparatus, and it's just incredible in this book. Again, we have also seen in this library tour a couple of big volumes of selected Johnson. This is another one of them, but I knew that it was going to come in this room as soon as I read it. So, all right, this next one, these could at least be together. This is also a book about the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. This is a very different book. It's not a history. It's from the Museums Rediscovered series, and it's a picture book. It takes you through the artwork in the Gardner and describes its provenance and a little bit about it. Every piece of artwork in the Gardner, including, infamously, the pieces of artwork that are no longer in the Gardner, the pieces of artwork that were stolen in 1990 and will never be recovered, in my opinion. They are also in here, and the book is written in the sweet innocence of not even guessing that there would be a time when there would be empty frames up on the third floor. And then the last book here is The Life of Mammals by David Attenborough. These big books of his, this is there's an unlucky little creature and a lucky little creature. This is The Life of Mammals. I think I also have Life on Earth and The Life of Birds. I love them. There's nothing groundbreaking in them, and they're very much the definition of popular natural history. But I love them anyway. So when I find one in perfect condition for $1 at the Brattle Bookshop, I grab it. That's what I did in this case. And believe it or not, that's it. This was a pretty quick shelf. Nothing. Only one crosswise book and nothing sitting on the shelf in front of the book, so we're done. I'm going to leave this chair right here because I think we can use it tomorrow as well before I go down to the floor, and then we'll be on to the next bookcase. So I'll wrap this up for now, but I'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.